go, the ADHD is supposedly a medical condition, but you can turn it, these children can turn it on and off at will. They at football practice, they like football. All of a sudden they can pay attention. But then when they in school, they got ADHD, and then they say, oh, I ain't take my medicine this morning. And then a few months after graduating from high school, they go to college, graduate from high school in June. By September, if you go to college, you're in college, nothing in there to support you with ADHD. There's no such thing. Well, you just left high school 3 months ago, and there's no services for you at college for ADHD? You just lost it that fast. Why ain't there no services in college for ADHD? Go to any college and ask them, is there any kind of services for ADHD? You ain't gonna find it. Well, you just left high school 3 months ago. What happened to it? That's because it starts in school and it ends in school. Because it don't exist. It don't exist. And we keep telling our children that it exists. Shame on us. I'm done. Now I want to, here's my info. I want to hear from any of y'all quickly.
Give us another round of applause.
Take over, brother. I've said enough.
We have any questions on the floor?
Yeah, any questions, then Brother Simon, I'll take back over. We want to hear from y'all. Like, this happened to me in school. I see some young people here. I can remember in school, or it affects us all because we all got nieces, nephews, grandchildren. So it'll hit us all one way or another. Yeah.
Have you, or do you know of any similarities, or I guess characteristics, in what they use to diagnose ADHD and autism? Are there any, symptoms? Are they the same?
I know it's a rising number of black children being diagnosed with autism. I'm not as well versed with that, but with me working with children that got behavior problems, sometimes they'll call me like, yeah, this child is acting out or whatever. I'm like, what's going on with him? Like, he had autism, and they just really blurting out. So the lashing out, like what we talked about with the schizophrenia, I can see that. But with the attention and some of the symptoms that they say is with ADHD, I haven't seen much connection, with that.
Well, autism is a wide spectrum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very wide, and those children require a lot of one-on-one attention. A lot of them can't even function in the classroom, so as soon as they're giving me someone like that to look after, I can't handle them because I have so many children I have to look after, where someone with ADHD, they can about function anywhere, because remember, it don't exist. So you can have them in the classroom, they can go days and weeks, but someone with autism, that's, like I said, I'm not as well versed with that.
I have read some of the kids with autism, they can do something and do it quite well, so you have to find out what that is.
The reason I asked is, in doing my own research, I have seen that some of the symptoms that they use to diagnose children with ADHD is very similar to certain levels of autism, like Asperger's and things of that nature, because as you said, they can still function. There is certain things that are a little bit different. They may not want people in their space. They have certain things that trigger and set them off. And I guess really why I was asking is also because I've been doing research where I found immunizations are, they try to say they're not, but they are. It's a link between that and autism. And I was wondering, well, if they're being sometimes quote unquote misdiagnosed because of the symptoms are the same in autism and ADHD, could that very well be what a lot of these black male youth especially have? Maybe autism and not.
Take them to the doctor. I ain't trying to say I'm no doctor, so take them to the doctor.
Autism is a mental disorder. ADHD is a behavior disorder.
Okay.
So they will, with that mental disorder, they will have a lot of the characteristics and display the symptoms, display those behaviors. But autism is more of a mental capacity where their brain doesn't function. There are a lot of children that are autistic but they're great in arts and they're great in music, and they can do it very well, and they can remember numbers very well, but that's how their brain functions. ADHD, they just need to get somewhere and sit down. I mean, it's just a behavior disorder, and it's a way to control and manipulate the way our children behave because they want to fit them in this box. With autism, they need the one-on-one care because their brains don't function as normal brains function. So that's why there's a lot of comparison that you see that displays some of the same behaviors that a child diagnosed with ADHD display.
It seems like they diagnosed it early.
They do, and what I've seen coming from the healthcare field is most Black children aren't diagnosed with autism. They're diagnosed with ADHD, but they're not diagnosed with autism. It's almost all White children who are diagnosed with autism. So I was just saying that maybe that could be a situation, especially if you are getting your child immunized.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like our children, none of them have been immunized.
I wasn't.
Not one. And
My
we
child
did it.
isn't.
Yeah, we did it that way. You know, like we had our letter and everything. You know, and the pediatrician, understood and understands. So like when they transition to the next schools, all of their records go with them that, they are not immunized and don't have to be immunized. I know Holly Robinson, the actress, she, her child, has autism. I can't think of this white lady's name, but her child had autism, and all it was a change of the diet. The child was immunized, got autism, they changed the diet of the child, and it just, dissipated. So it's one of those situations where we got to look at everything. We can't rule nothing out, whether it be the food, whether it be, the drugs that they're given. It's a lot of stuff. I know over in China at one time, this is when Pokemon was real big. And you remember when the children, they all caught epileptic seizures from just watching what was on television. So it's, we live
circumstances.
It's
a circumstance. They never look at the circumstances because they don't want to cure anything.
No.
They just want to treat because that's where the money is. That's why I showed you that slide of the amount of money they make. That's no rocket science. They cure something, game over.
That's right.
Common, the proof in that is with polio. In the 50s and 60s, America was stricken with polio, and Dr. Jonas Salk, who's a German doctor, he came out with the cure with polio, and all the money that they had raised for polio, all the money dried up overnight because they didn't need the money anymore because they had a cure. The AMA, which the American Medical Association, said, from this point forward, we will not cure any more diseases. What has happened? Ever since the 50s and 60s, no disease has been cured. How can that be? You can come out with an iPhone 6 and a Galaxy Edge, but you can't cure high blood pressure?
Thank you.
Come on. They don't want to cure it. From that meeting, they said.
I have a book I ordered offline when I was in New Jersey, and it's called Medical Apartheid.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And that book, when I first got the book, I was crying. I couldn't read I couldn't even read one chapter. Because the things they did to our ancestors.
That's right.
It was terrible.
That's right.
It was terrible.
Still going. Yeah. We'll find out 30 years from now what they were doing now. That's right. Doesn't it, what is it, 30 to 50 years, don't they come back and then they say, oh, well, this is what was happening. That's right. You know
why they do that? Because whoever had their hands in a pot at that time probably be deceased, and then they won't be responsible for those acts. And then they can easily come out and say, well, so-and-so did this, this, and that. Then people want to go start, oh, they're deceased. They're no longer around. So they'll come years later and start, admitting things.
That's right. Harriet Washington, medical apartheid.
Yeah, that's a powerful.
I had to get the book. It was.
She and I, we've been trying to get her here, but because who she's connected with right now, you know, from a financial standpoint, you know, she can't go against breaking her, you know, but she wants to come here. She's been here in Durham, but for what we do, you know, she really wants to come. So. Any other questions on the floor for Brother Shareef? Brother Maurice?
Yes, sir. Is there a methodical method for, I guess, just dealing with, you know, when, you know, counselors or whatever come to you in the schools to say, you know,
so that they have for the Nike commercial, or not the Nike commercial, the commercial for drugs. Just say no. They just start saying, oh, well, he has this, this, and that, and we have a recommendation for him to start, or her to start taking the medication. No, because they can't put your child on any medication without your approval.
That's right.
It's really that simple, but that's the purpose of this forum, is for us to come up with solutions that back each other up. I sit in the meetings that they have, and they'll start saying, well, this child is being a problem, and that child is being a problem. And one of the main problems that we have today in the school system is back in the 50s and 60s, a lot of people who had these positions, principal, counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist, was strictly white. Now, with us going to school more and becoming counselors and stuff, a lot of us have those positions. So on one side of the coin, you say, well, good, blacks have these positions. Yeah, but they got a white and European mindset. Yeah. So now they got us doing their bidding. So it's really not too much different. So when you go on these meetings and they say, yeah, little Johnny is out of control and he's not taking his medicine, or we recommend medication, it's mostly black people doing those things. Most of these schools around here I'm at, they're all black. Principal's black, most of the teachers are black. So you can't really, on the outside, call it racism, but really it's just black people and black skin with white mindsets.
That's right.
So they're doing the same thing, and a white person might as well be standing there. So they come and gang up on the mother who comes there. She may not know what's going on. She may have good intentions. She walk in, and I've said it before, everybody and their mama is in that room waiting on her. The bus driver, he waiting on her. What the hell he got to do with the situation? He just driving the bus. Miss Gertrude in the kitchen, it's been working in the kitchen. Now you know he shouldn't be acting like that. You got her putting her little 2 cents in there. So she got all these people ganging up on her to make her think that this is the best and only alternative.
Right.
So the best thing for us to do, first thing, is to say no, get a second opinion, and to have that backing up. We go in there, they be like, they gonna put that child on the you don't F with list. Like, that's what my boys are on. I pop up at my boys' school just to pop up there.
That's right.
That's what you gotta do. Make it, and from right there, they're gonna know not to mess with your children.
That's right.
Don't just go there when there's a problem.
That's right.
That's why it's called a public school. It's open to the public. Well, don't come in here and I feel like you're intimidating me. No one's intimidating you. My children are in here. And I have the right to come in here and sit all day if I want to. I want to know what you're teaching my children. Right away, they're going to know. You don't mess with that child.
That's right.
That's right.
You don't mess with that child. But know your rights. They cannot sign your child up and put your child on no kind of medication, no kind of extra services that you don't want them to be on. I remember when I was in school, and I was always, the only time I was in trouble was fighting white supremacy. That's the main reason I got in trouble. I wasn't really a behavior problem. And one time they said I went to Catholic school because my mom, you know, she wasn't as conscious as my dad was. So even though we lived in kind of a rough area, they sent me to Catholic school. She said, because I want you to get a better education. She didn't want me to go on to city school. So I was always bucking up against her. I mean, in trouble all the time. They were just telling them they were a bunch of liars. So one time, they come to me and say, we need you to go talk to someone. It looks like you're having a rough day. I'm just a young guy. I'm like, all right, who do you want me to talk to? He got me in there talking to a psychologist. Once again, nothing wrong with me. I go home, my dad always checking with me. A lot of these children, the parents ain't checking on them.
Right.
How can you not check on your child?
That's right.
My dad said, how was your day? Simple question, but a very deep Question, how was your day? Well, I was talking to some white man today. What white man? He's asking me all these questions. My dad said, that sounds like a goddamn psychologist. Let's get in the car.
That's right.
Who in the hell gave you permission? Oh, no, Mr. Howard, we was just concerned about your son. Well, I'm concerned about him too, and if you got concern, you come talk to me first.
Right.
Shut that down.
That's right. That's right.
If he wasn't in my life, because I really didn't know what was going on. I was half falling asleep in there. But a lot of our children don't know what's hitting them. Me and my wife was talking about that earlier. Had a boy, he playing around with the girl in line, and he just playing around, and he jumped on her back and they fell down. You know, they charge him with assault. There's that word again. I go to the alternative school, and oh yeah, by the way, they have a new alternative school down the street here for 4th and 5th graders. They just opened. It's behind Stanford One Library.
Around the block.
Yep. You can walk there. It's called Second Chance. And it's for 4th and 5th graders.
WG, what was it? WG?
Yeah, old WG Pearson Magnet Elementary Middle School.
Middle school, yeah.
It's now alternative school. It's still for middle school students, but it's now for 4th and 5th graders. And I go, this boy is in 4th grade. I said, do you realize they're charging you with assault? He said, what is that? He said, all I was doing was playing with the girl and I jumped on her back and she fell down. I said, no, they're charging you with assault. And like Brother Simran said in the opening, it's a difference between something being on your paperwork as being an assault and being a fight. Assault, you can file charges for that.
Exactly.
And it's,
What happened to your son?
Oh, let me tell you.
And I'm angry because I mean, he's got to this.
I'm glad Brother Shareef mentioned that, because there were 3 columns. So she had an opportunity to just put fight with student, but she went over into the 2nd column and then she put assault. When I sent the email to the principal as well as the school board, I mean, when she saw that email, she turned around so quick and said, oh, I'm so glad that you're an advocate for your child and you are absolutely right. Let me go ahead and, you should, she said, look out for USPS, the United States Postal Service. I'll be sending, the documents and this, that, and the third, because what she did was she had him sign without me being present. And of course, you never have a child sign without the parent. So his signature is there, her signature is there. In the middle is the area for the parent to sign. So because DPS got that, one of the, and it was interesting because one of the people on DPS that responded, she and I used to work in an office together. And so she corrected her and said, you need to make certain when you fill out a behavioral report form that is filled out correctly. So the gun is still on this woman because I'm going after the job. I'm going after her job for what it is that she did, because my thing to them was that, okay, because this has happened to my child, you need to investigate, because the school just opened last year, well, year before last. So any behavioral report that she has written up on any child, especially a child of color, needs to be re-examined.
That's right.
And parents need to be informed that this has taken place based on what was done with mine. Because it wasn't this was not an accident. It was absolutely no accident. When if you say something or if you do something, he's gonna hold you on what it is that you did. So he told me that this substitute had told him to shut up. And it all stemmed from a recess type situation. And he said that, I guess the class was quiet and they wanted to get out there to go to recess. So he said, I asked if we were still going to recess. The class got upset with me and started yelling at me. He said, now Dad, I know I was wrong because I told them to shut up. He said, but when I told them to shut up, she told me to shut up. I said, put her on the phone. He said, well, she's not in here right now because they just went to recess. I said, well, when you go to recess, I said, you let her know I need her to give me a call. I said, don't let her know what I want her to call me back for. I said, but I want her to call me back. So she called, and I said, yeah, I spoke to, Kimaki, and I said, he told me that there was a situation where he told the class to shut up, and he said he knew that he was wrong, and the class got on him. I said, he told me that you told him to shut up. So she paused, and I guess she thought she could get her bearings together, and she said, yes, I did. I said, well, let me explain something to you. I said, that's not the culture of our household. I said, so when you told him to shut up, I said, but you called me to tell me that he was acting out. I said, well, he had every reason to he had every reason to act out. I said, because you told him to shut up, and that's not something that, he gets from us. So she said, well, let me explain. She said, I said to him, see, you wouldn't like when somebody tells you to shut up. Okay, here's the lie. Because I know that's not what you said. I know you told him to shut up, and that was the end of it. I said he wasn't able to process it that way. I said, he's 10 years old. No, he processed. I said, no. He is not your contemporary. He didn't process it that way. No, I said, well, excuse me, I'm sorry. I said, I think I know him. I said, I think I know this guy. So she didn't say anymore. So I said, I don't think, and Ms. Pryor, I said, I don't think Ms. Pryor would back you on this. So she was clear what I meant when I said, I don't think Ms. Pryor back you on this. She said, you're absolutely right. I apologize. She said, when I get off the phone with you, I'm going to apologize to him. I said, well, I just want to make sure that we're clear. Now, of course, I could have been the pajama parent and the slippers and went there, but I felt as if it was a situation where we could be civil about it. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to apologize. Okay, great. You apologize to me. You say that you. So she, honored her word. She apologized to him, and then that's when she said, "Yeah, I just wanted you to see that didn't feel right for somebody else to say, shut up. You know how we try and break it up just in case the parent decides to still come up to the school. But with me saying all of this, one of the things we have to understand is that there has to be an advocacy group of us as parents, because all parents cannot advocate for their own child.
Right.
If you know that you are a nut and you don't know how to go into a school and advocate for your child, you need those who know how to advocate for your child, for your children. That's one of the things that needs to come out of this situation today. Forming an advocacy group. 2, although our children may go to African-centered schools or private schools, we still need to be at these meetings that are being held by the school system, because certain things are coming up and we're not signing off on them, but our children are still being ushered into these situations. 2, we have a case where we have these black folks who are going through early education, at Central and St. Aug and all these other places, but as soon as they hit the classroom, although they may know the subject, they don't know how to teach it. So our young people, as Brother Shareef pointed out, don't know how to respond to it, because half the time our children are in seats, in chairs, behind a desk. And our children are the Sesame Street type. They love colors, they love movement, they love songs,
Love songs.
But you got them sitting there the entire time. And then you expect, it's just like with the presentation. From me giving the introduction, Brother Shareef giving the presentation, what are our young people doing? Our young people are moving around, they're coloring, they're doing they're sleeping. Why? That's not what they do. They're children. And in order to get them to learn, there has to be some, physical things going on at the same time. You got a lot of young people who are just so creative and dynamic with what it is that they can do. Young girl, she said that she put a perm in her hair and her hair fell out. She's like 14 years old. And so she said she was looking for, some products that she could put in her hair to stimulate growth. And what she wound up doing was coming up with her own product. She comes up with her own product, now 14 years old, comes up with her own product, goes to an old beauty salon, starts selling it there, and then start going to all these other beauty salons, and then makes a big hit. Goes on Oprah's show. She said she wasn't so nervous about being on the show, but because this was Oprah's show, would she be able to fill the orders? So the sister, young sister, now by this time she's 15 years old. Sister's making so much money that it was enough for her mother to leave her job and come work for her.
I love it.
So our young people are creating. Another young brother, his mother was in a car accident. He's 15. Mother's in a car accident. He said, you know, my mother loved, you know, salt baths because it would stimulate her and help her out and this, that, and the third. So he starts a salt, business, blowing up, boom. So our children are in these classrooms, but they are well beyond where the class is supposed to be. So they're going beyond just reading ahead of the teacher. We're talking about scientists, we're talking about attorneys, we're talking about doctors. I mean, we are already produced. It's just that we're in these situations where it's like, God, when can I get this over with so I can just do what I want, do what I need to do? This is the reason why our children are not excelling. You know, when we talk about the 3rd grade and 4th grade syndrome, them moving from one position to the other, and you know, this, now we start to see this behavior. Yeah, you're going to see this behavior because they're active. They know what it is that they want. They know what they want to do. If we let our children, if we allow them that space and that energy and that time, you know, like with my children, they know that it's always going to have to. They just know banking, accounting, all they. I shove it all down their throat and they just gobble it up. Can't stay full because their thing is, I want to, you know, be a business person. I want to do this. I want to do that. Our children are brilliant. Yes. But what's killing them happens to be the very thing that we send them off to. Their minds are being molested. They're being raped every single day when we're not in those classrooms. I like to go at the beginning of the school year, then I like to go in that midpoint. See, the beginning of the school year, when you walk in that classroom, the class looks real nice, it's decked out, the desks are real nice, and then like Brother Shareef said, you pop up in there during the afternoon. Afternoon, that's the best time. Afternoon, and you walk in that same classroom, the energy is totally different. It is totally different.
Out of control. I'm in the class.
You already, you walk in the classroom and you like, woo, what's going on up in here? Like you can just feel it. And the children don't even have to be in the classroom. They can be in lunch, they can be at recess, but you meet with that teacher and you can just feel like there's no learning going on in here. You know, why are you giving my child 50 questions to answer when all you really have to do is what? Give them one example. And then after you give them the example, you give them 1 or 2 questions that differ from one another for them to solve. That's all they need to know so that when they do take a test or a quiz, they can apply the principle. But you're giving them 50 questions and they don't retain all of that. They shut down.
They're testing the heck out of them
right
now with all these CDAs.
It was 2 weeks ago, DPS had a meeting on how much testing that they've been giving the children.
That's the issue. The teachers are taught to teach them for testing.
Right.
Teach them to pass the standardized testing.
That's right.
They don't teach them for them to learn the concept.
At all.
I took a class not too long after we moved. I think I was pregnant with this one. And at Durham Tech, and the professor said, all you need is the theory. You come to college to get the theory. It's up to you how you apply it.
That's right.
And for us, because we use the public school system, it's our job in the community to foster that creativity. So if you know your child likes making bath salts, like I've been studying essential oils for me to make some things, then you get them what they need. You can go to Whole Foods, you can go to Fresh Market, you can go get them what they need.
Now, we're the experts. You are the expert on your child.
Yes.
I don't care if someone has a PhD. They may have studied that subject.
Right.
But there's no such thing as them being an expert on your child. You're the expert on your child. No different. They only know what you tell them.
Absolutely.
Just like me and my sister went to the doctor, and she went with me, and she said, brother, you're not going to tell the doctor about you having anxiety? I said, no. So she didn't prescribe me nothing about anxiety because I didn't tell her. Well, I thought she knew everything. She only knew what I told her. So it's the same thing with your child. You are the expert on your child. Someone may go to school and study a subject, but they haven't studied your child. So you don't let someone say your child got this, and they're prone to do this, and prone to do that, and then you sign your name off, and you got them on some powerful psychotropic drug that's going to potentially destroy them for the rest of their life. If they get a study on the crimes and the social disturbances that's been going on anywhere in the country, most of these people are on psychotropic drugs.
Any of you all see the commercial, what is it, Risperdal?
Yeah, we got them growing breasts.
And that thing cracks me up. And I know it's a serious matter because, you know, but the fact that they say, you know, your son could be growing male breasts or
What?
yeah, Risperdal.
Is that in the fine print?
Oh no, it's a
you.
lawsuit.
It's a lawsuit.
And this is for children who have been, well, for boys who have been taking it. And it's like, you know, to Brother Shareef's point about this medication that's being given and it has not been tested for long periods of time. And now when they start to develop these symptoms that they never even discussed, you know, then it's, you know, becomes problematic because a lot of this stuff you can't reverse. It's just, you know, whether it be mental or whether it be physical, but the bottom line is our young people are under attack.
Yes.
Every day, from the school to when they get out of school, and you know how they're perceived when they're out here in the streets. It's just like, you know, of all people, Geraldo, you know, when he came out, this was after the Trayvon Martin situation, and said, you know, black and Latino children don't need to wear hoodies. So it's okay for white children to wear hoodies because when they wear hoodies, it doesn't imply that they're doing anything that's wrong. Just like Trayvon Martin was coming from the store with a hoodie on and wasn't doing anything wrong, and his life was taken. So, you know, that double standard. And because there is a double standard, you know, there's some things that, you know, we need to do as black folk. We got to get our stuff together to say, okay, you know, what's good for the goose?
We can't depend on.
It's good for the gander.
We can't depend on each other because, like I said, if you don't take anything else from this lecture, take from that back in the 50s and 60s, these same positions were held typically by whites. The counselors, we didn't have those positions.
Right.
Now with us going to school more and you know stepping into the white American dream, yeah, I'm a counselor. You know, we got counselor positions, psychiatrists. You got all these people flooding the school. Hell, I can't even determine who works in the school and who's an outside source anymore. When we were in school, it was the principal, the assistant principal, the lady cooking dinner, and the school nurse, and maybe a guidance counselor. Now every damn body is in the school, and it's still bad.
And have office space.
Yeah, got office space. Me, I'm an outside source in the school. Like I work in the school, but I don't work for the school. I'm contracted out. I'm contracted out, but it's black people holding these positions doing the same thing that white people are doing. You got the gym teacher at one school. She plays her Christian music all the time in gym class, which is illegal. You ain't supposed to be having anything that's persuading religion. She, you know, she's all Christian and all that, and that's fine. Little girl, she knows this girl is autistic. This was just the other day. She knows this girl is autistic and got mental problems. Little girl in there snapping out. They got all this stuff on the wall that, you know, people did their projects. Man, she ripped them down and all that, flipping out. No one could calm her down. And they said, she's not one of my students, but they know I'm pretty calm. They said, Brother Shareef, can you talk to her? I said, come here, Punky. And I started hugging her. She started calming down. I said, what happened? Well, I kept raising my hand in the gym class, and she wouldn't call. That's a trick a lot of teachers do.
Yes.
They deliberately will ignore a child when they see, and the ones they don't like, that'll frustrate them, then they act them out, then they say, get the hell out of my class. But anyway, she said she wouldn't call on me. And I said, then what happened? She said, I flipped out. I said, you know you was wrong for that, right? She said, yeah, I was wrong. I said, let's go apologize to the teacher. So I walked in there, I got my arm around her. I said, tell the gym teacher I'm sorry. She said, I'm really sorry for what I did. I am accepting your apology. The teacher said,
Adult.
Man, that little girl, she got turned up again. I said, Lord.
But the thing about it is,
it's nasty.
and
just as nasty as the white one.
Like I was saying earlier, you know, and that's what I told the substitute also. I said, see, you reduce yourself to a child, but then you wanted to snap back and be an adult, and then get on the phone and then call me, you know, as if, you know, my child was wrong.
Right.
But you can't do that.
That's true.
You can't do that, and that's what, unfortunately, many of our instructors who are in the classroom, what they do, they'll reduce themselves to the child's level, and then, you know, my son was telling me of an incident in the classroom where it was a substitute going back and forth with this little girl. And so I didn't know what he was talking about, because he said, yeah, the girl said, bye Felicia, and then now is that from a movie or something?
Friday, when Craig was talking to Felicia Friday, she was trying to borrow a car, and he was like, bye Felicia.
He said, the little girl said, bye Felicia, and pulled the woman's wig. And so, you know, this is what's going, but see, this is what's happening in the classroom. There's no control. There's no control. See, I'll put it to you this way. When I used to teach, and I was teaching 4th grade and 5th grade, because I would set the tone. If I had to be out for a week, I always had a substitute that said, if I ever have to substitute again, I want to substitute for your class. One, the work is laid out for the children. Everything is simple. Okay, we have substitutes who are not fluent in math, science, history, and language arts. So I spell it out for you, so that way you know how to, you know, give the information. Now, if you're a teacher who you don't have control over your classroom, guess what's going to happen when a substitute comes into the room?